Welcome everyone to the Microsoft Power BI Specialist Speak On. I am Shawn Kim, a project and BI specialist at Microsoft, and I'll be your host today. So today's topic is customer connections. So as Microsoft BI specialists, we love speaking with our customers. In fact, that is my favorite part of the job. And through these many interactions we have with our customers, we have gathered some of our most frequently asked questions that our customers ask. And so today, our goal is to shed some light on these FAQs. And to help answer these questions and to bring clarity on these topics, our guest of honor today is Christina Tillbrook. Now, Christina is an intelligence technical specialist for Microsoft Health and Life Sciences. She has over 20 years of experience in technology with focus on delivering business intelligence solutions, training, and education, of course, with deep customer obsession. Now, she started in web development, but her passion and affinity for analytics has led her to successful client projects in various areas such as Google Analytics, e-commerce, Power Platform, and of course, Power BI, with various high-profile manufacturing companies as well as insurance agencies. Now, she's been awarded many employee awards, too many to name. She's basically a rock star, and we are lucky to have her here with Microsoft. So, welcome, Christina, and thank you for joining us today. Would you like to say a few words and get started?
Wow, that's an amazing introduction. Thank you very much, Shawn. Yes, of course. Very happy to be here at Microsoft to talk about our Power BI frequently asked questions. And let's start to get into some of the details of that. So we'll start with our first question, which is, what is Power BI Desktop? So Power BI Desktop is probably one of the number one questions. And basically what this is, it's a free application where you can install on your local computer, and that lets you connect, transform, and visualize your data. With Power BI Desktop, you can connect to multiple different sources of data and combine them, often called modeling, into data models. And this data model lets you build visuals and collections of visuals, and you can share as reports with other people inside your organization. And most users who work on business intelligence projects use Power BI Desktop to create the reports and then use Power BI Service to share those reports with others. So we're going to get into the details of what is Power BI Service. So,
Christina, quick question before we
yes, of
switch
course.
over there. I get this question. I just like you said, we get this question all the time from customers, and one of the follow-up questions that comes along with it is, so do I have to have Power BI Desktop installed to use Power BI? Is Power BI the same as Power BI Desktop?
No, you do not. You do not. So you can access shared Power BI reports with no license given the right permissions. So you don't necessarily have to have Power BI Desktop unless you're actually creating reports. So if you're just looking at reports, there's a lot of different options to see that as long as the reports are shared with you and you have the correct licensing and permissions. Power BI Desktop isn't always necessary.
Got it. Thank you.
So next question we get frequently is, what is Power BI Service? And so Power BI Service is our cloud-based service. It's a software as a service, SaaS as we also call it. And it supports report editing and collaboration on teams and organizations. And you can connect to data sources in Power BI Service too, but modeling is limited. So the Power BI Service is used to do things such as creating dashboards, creating and sharing apps, analyzing and exploring your data to uncover business insights and so much more. So, we can do things like, collaborate with Excel to Azure services to Teams and to SharePoint. So it's a really powerful tool. And what you can do is you can see here from our listing, we can do live connections. We have AI-infused insights. There's pre-built dashboards, live real-time dashboard updates, and we can also integrate with Power Apps and Power Automate and Power Virtual Agent, besides a few others that I mentioned.
So, I guess it does say it's a cloud-based service. Does this mean that I can actually access this from my home office, or or can I just access it from any internet, or do I need to be on the company intranet, or what are the limitations?
Sure. So like an end user in Power BI Service and mobile devices can view and interact with reports anywhere because it's a browser-based application. So As long as you have the right permissions, like before, to view the reports, you can basically view them anywhere, and especially the mobile application. That's really great since you can just kind of go on, be on the go and have access to these reports.
That's great. So access to my data anywhere, anytime, right?
Exactly. And so the next question is that we get frequently is, what is a Power BI business user? So the way you interact with Power BI will depend on your job role. So as an end user, or we call business user, you're the person who receives content. So you're, like we were mentioning before, somebody that can see stuff on Power BI service. So you can receive content from dashboards, reports, and apps, and from different colleagues. So if you work in the online or mobile versions of Power BI, then you're using Power BI service to review and interact. And when you work with shared content, you have to meet one of the following criteria. So what's really important about this is, if you're looking at a report that's in a Power BI Pro workspace or a premium per user workspace, and workspaces are the different environments that a Power BI report will be located. You can look at them depending on your license. And then also there is an organizational element to this. If we have Power BI premium subscription, the content that's shared with you comes from a premium capacity where no license is needed at all, where you just have the share rights. So you don't need a pro license or a premium per user license. And so as a business user, you can, if you don't have any of these licenses, you can just filter, slice, subscribe, and export your work. And that doesn't impact any of the underlying data sets or the original shared content, like the dashboard and report apps. And you can't corrupt your data. So the Power BI is a great place to explore and experiment and work without having to worry that you might break something. So that doesn't mean that you can't save your changes. You can, but those changes only affect your view of the content. So it's a really great tool.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not a super developer, but I am a sort of a power user of Excel. So I like to make ad hoc reports in Excel for my own use. So in the world of Power BI, does that make me a business user?
Yeah, you would be a citizen developer. So if you are creating reports in Power BI, a business user only interacts with reports that are shared with them. So you really, if you are working in Excel and then moving those reports into Power BI, you're definitely beyond the business user, typically.
Got it. Okay.
So next question we get is, how do individual users in my organization sign up? So a typical scenario that may apply to most users in your organization would be people that already have, or organization that already has an existing Microsoft 365 environment. And the user signing up for Power BI already has a Microsoft 365 account. So in this scenario, if a user already has a work or school account in the tenant, for example, contoso.com is usually typical of Microsoft to use as a demo, but doesn't yet have Power BI, Microsoft simply activates the Power BI free plan for that account, and then the user is automatically notified with information on how to use the Power BI service.
Hey, so question on that. Are there restrictions on the Power BI free license, or is that like a full license?
So there are restrictions to the free license unless you decide to get a trial. So if you want to start, as long as you don't have trials disabled, you can start to explore Power BI with the free license, where you can download a copy of Power BI desktop and use that and have your own environment. But then once you want to go and share that information out, you would want to upgrade to a Power BI Pro license to enjoy those features. And then you have the option to upgrade. Usually, typically, when you have a Power BI free license, you'll see pop-ups to upgrade. So it's a good way for you to choose. And then your choice is to start these licenses, and the trial will usually last, and the trial lasts 60 days.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So we were talking a little bit about licensing, but let's go a little further and talk about what is the difference between Power BI Pro and Power BI Premium. So you can see here, Power BI Pro is an individual user license. And also you'll probably see here, there's E5 and PPU, where the E5 is a Microsoft license that already has Power BI associated with it. So you already get that. And then the PPU license is a standalone license. Power BI Pro can also be a standalone license if you want to order it separately, but it allows you to access all content capabilities within Power BI service, and also obviously the desktop, which is already included for free. You can even share content and collaborate with other pro users. So that's the Power BI Pro is basically about sharing and collaboration and publishing content to workspaces, and then subscribing to things such as dashboards and reports. Now, Power BI Premium, which you could see here, and there's two people, which is like the developer accounts versus the author and publish versus just the viewers of dashboards and reports in a very large group. And the Power BI Premium provides a capacity to deliver like more consistent performance. So it also supports that larger data volume in Power BI. For individual users, Premium enables widespread distribution of content that pro users can actually develop and then put into this capacity to be shared out. So that means a business user can collaborate with colleagues and view and interact with dashboards and reports and apps that have been shared with them. So it's a great way to, that's a very large collaboration tool, but definitely very useful to large organizations.
Yeah, this is good information. And I believe we do have another session that was uploaded by our colleague Rhonda that goes deeper into licensing. So if there are any other questions, specific questions around licensing, we can definitely refer to that.
Great. So we'll go on to, this is one of our last questions here. So what is the difference between, this is Power BI Premium Gen 1 versus Gen 2? So first we want to ask, what is Power BI Premium Gen 2? Because that's what we have today. And so it's recently been released as a new version of Power BI Premium, and it helps to manage premium capacities and reduce management overhead. And some of the enhancements from Gen 1 to Gen 2 include the fact that you now can have a Power BI Premium per user. So it's like the Pro license, but gives you all the features that Premium allows. It improves metrics, so capacity performance depends only on the amount of CPU usage. Metrics can be easily understood using what they have now offered, which is the Power BI Premium Capacity Utilization and Metrics app. So it's an application that's been added with Gen 2, where you can actually see what the current capacity utilization means. Basically, it's about usage. So what are these premium capacities currently using for traffic flow and users and reporting and so forth? And another thing that's offered now in Premium Gen 2 is auto scale. And it's an optional feature that prevents slowdowns caused by throttling on overloaded capacities. So when enabled, if the load of the capacity exceeds the capacity limits, auto scale automatically adds on one vCore at a time of 24 for 24-hour periods. And additional vCores are charged to your Azure subscription as a pay-as-you-go account. Now, also, there's a better memory, so data sets can go over the 25 gig memory capacity that was previously given in Gen 2. And then now data sets are all basically the memory is able to be upgraded individually. Now, the last thing is refreshes. Previously, there was a maximum of 6 refreshes at any one time on a capacity. And otherwise, you can get throttled pretty fast. So with Gen 2, refreshes get spread out over a 24-hour period and don't impact other queries from users. Refreshes just run. So people are seeing refreshes of an hour and a half coming down to 10 minutes. So that is what yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask. So, I mean, to me, it seems like there's a lot of additional capabilities and improvements in Gen 2. So if we currently have Gen 1, how do we get to Gen 2? What can we do?
All right. So with Gen 2, it's automatically migrated. So as of January of 2022, migrations were added automatically to all organizations that had Power BI Premium usage.
Awesome. That makes it simple, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I mean, we've learned so much. You've covered so many different topics and questions that we get from our customers. But I imagine there may be some other additional questions that our customers have. So if they want to get some additional information, learn more about Power BI, what can they do? Are there any resources that they can refer to?
Oh, absolutely. So we do have an area for frequently asked questions that talks about these things. And some of the great features is how do you get started with Power BI and getting the desktop, which is free. Another area is making sure you're up to date on the latest Power BI news. And we have community pages and YouTube channels, and we have a full Microsoft Learn documentation that you can have. And it's also really good if you're going for, say, you want to go for a Power BI certification. We have Power BI webinars, we have LinkedIn Learning, we've got user groups, and we also have a really great support page for people to use. And we find these resources extremely helpful when you're starting out with Power BI, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
Well, Christina, really thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and expertise with us today. It's been great. It's absolute pleasure. Thank you for everyone for joining, and I
Absolutely.
hope everyone picked up a few good nuggets as I have today. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.
All right, thank you.